the tweets. Trump made it clear he was watching Fox News while firing off his tweets this AM, pointing to the former Reagan economic advisor, Art Laffer, who joined the network this morning to sell Trump's tax reform plan. More context. Sen. Chuck Schumer also issued a statement today arguing that the fake math on Trump's tax cuts is a deliberate manipulation of numbers and facts, and he said companies are already sitting on a lot of cash. Schumer also called out Trump for his frequent touting of the stock market. As the president likes to point out, the stock market is at record highs and companies are raking in unprecedented profits, yet wages have remained relatively flat, said Schumer. That's proof positive that companies already have a cash windfall, but they're not using it to boost wages. Trump then tweeted about the success of the stock market under his presidency. He also targeted Hillary Clinton, who Nigel Farage criticized for making a sad, sorry spectacle of herself on Fox Friends this morning, stating he hopes she'll run in 2020. Statement from TWC Director Tarak Ben Amr: We believe that Colony's investment and sponsorship will help stabilize the company's current operations, as well as provide comfort to our critical distribution, production and talent partners around the world. Dollar details none yet. History. Colony Capital in 2010 bought Miramax, the studio founded by Harvey and Bob Weinstein before forming the Weinstein Company. While under Colony's ownership, Miramax and TWC would come to form a strategic partnership. Colony sold Miramax in early 2016. In case you've been under a rock, the Weinstein Co. has been upended in the past 2 weeks by dozens of sexual assault and harassment allegations against co-founder and now former CEO Harvey Weinstein. Barrick background. The Colony Capital CEO is a longtime friend of President Trump, and spoke on his behalf last summer at the Republican National Convention. But he also made political waves last week by telling the Washington Post, "In my opinion, he's better than this." Precautions to take. Users are advised to look out for the padlock symbol in their browser, or the addition of the letter S on the end of the HTTP part of a web address, before sharing personal or financial information, Munson said. Ars Technica's Dan Gooden writes, people should avoid using Wi-Fi whenever possible until a patch or mitigation is in place. As a fallback, users should consider using a virtual private network as an added safety measure. How it's happening. There's a four-way handshake that establishes a key for securing traffic, but the third step allows the key to be reset multiple times, which allows encryption to be undermined, according to a researcher briefed on the vulnerability. The researchers, the United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team in Leuven, report this breach, called cracked key reinstallation attacks, could allow connection hijacking and malicious code injection. More on dollar stores by the numbers. The number of Dollar Generals and Dollar Trees combined, 27,465, is more than all CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens outlets combined. And both chains have ambitious plans to nearly double their footprints in the years to come. One big quote. Bloomberg spoke with Garrick Brown, a real estate analyst, who said, essentially what the dollar stores are betting on in a large way is that we are going to have a permanent underclass in America. It's based on the concept that the jobs went away, and the jobs are never coming back, and that things aren't going to get better in any of these places. What's next? The internet might be the next big hope for rural food deserts, as there's currently a federal pilot program to allow food assistance recipients to order their groceries online. Companies like Amazon and Walmart have signed up as suppliers, allowing them to avoid the overhead to setting up shop in a rural town. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Trump has speculated to aides that he will be able to replace a total of 4 Supreme Court judges, including RBG, saying, "What does she weigh 60 pounds?" Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Trump then claimed that the relatively recently appointed Justice Sotomayor would be next. Her health, Trump explained. No good. Diabetes. Sotomayor has opened up about her struggles with type 1 diabetes, but she's managed it successfully since childhood. Political figures. Hillary Clinton. If Hillary Clinton can't satisfy her husband, what makes her think she can satisfy the country? And of course, she doesn't have the look. She doesn't have the stamina. Carly Fiorina. Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that? The face of our next president. Elizabeth Warren. Pocahontas is at it again. Goofy Elizabeth Warren, one of the least productive U.S. senators, has a nasty mouth. Hope she is VP choice. Heidi Cruz. Trump retweeted a side-by-side photo of Melania Trump along with an unflattering photo of Heidi Cruz, wife of Sen. Ted Cruz, with the caption, "The images are worth 1,000 words." Reporters. Mika Brzezinski. I heard poorly rated at morning. Joe speaks badly of me. Don't watch anymore. Then how come low IQ crazy Mika, along with Psycho Joe, came to Mar-a-Lago 3 nights in a row around New Year's Eve, and insisted on joining me? She was bleeding badly from her facelift. I said no. Rosie O'Donnell is disgusting, both inside and out. If you take a look at her, she's a slob. How does she even get on television? If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers and say, Rosie, you're fired. Megyn Kelly, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes. Blood coming out of her wherever. Trump also referred to her as a bimbo. Gail Collins claims that Donald Trump called her dog and a liar with the face of a pig when he came across an article she wrote and he disliked. Katie Trump singled her out twice from the stages of rallies, calling her Little Katie, a third-rate journalist, and taunting, Katie, you're not reporting it, Katie. Jennifer Lynn got a call from Donald Trump after writing a story on his Atlantic City businesses. The woman said, hold for Mr. Trump. And then Mr. Trump began to yell at me. He told me I had S for brains. He told me I worked for a S newspaper and said what sort of S was I writing. I was stunned. He hung up. Maureen Dowd from the New York Times. Crazy Maureen Dowd, the wacky columnist for the failing at NY Times, pretends she knows me well. Wrong. Celebrities. Katarina Witt. Trump said about the German gold medal winning Olympic ice skater, wonderful looking while on the ice but up close and personal, she could only be described as attractive if you like a woman with a bad complexion who is built like a linebacker. Angelina Jolie. I really understand beauty. And I will tell you, she's not. I do own Miss Universe. I do own Miss USA. I mean, I own a lot of different things. I do understand beauty, and she's not Anne Hathaway, so when he had plenty of money, she liked him. But then after that, not as good, right? Share it. Carrie, don't wear a rug, it's mine. And I promise not to talk about your massive plastic surgeries that didn't work. Ariana Huffington. At Ariana Huff is unattractive both inside and out. I fully understand why her former husband left her for a man. He made a good decision. Models. Heidi Klum. Sadly, she's no longer a 10. Alicia Machado accused Trump of calling her fat, Miss Piggy and Miss Housekeeping after she won the Miss Universe pageant. Trump defended himself during the campaign when the story came out, saying, she was the winner and she gained a massive amount of weight, and it was real problem for us. Family. Ivana Trump. I would never buy Ivana any decent jewels or pictures. Why give her negotiable assets? Employees. Louise Sunshine worked for Trump in the late 70s and early 80s and claimed Trump had a fat picture of her in his desk and would take out when she did something he didn't like as a reminder that I wasn't perfect. We've always said that basketball can be played virtually anywhere, and today that takes on an expanded meaning, Melissa Rosenthal Brenner, the league's senior VP of digital media, said in a statement. How it works: a hoop, with the logo of your favorite team, can be placed just about anywhere and overlays on top of the real world, as seen through the smartphone camera. Shots can be taken with a flick of the wrist and the virtual court can go basically anywhere. It's designed for outside use, but works fine in indoor spaces too. Few people have heard of Netho, but lots of people have benefited from its work. The group acts as the tech arm for a consortium of 53 major global charities, working with tech giants to restore communications in the wake of natural disasters. These days, of course, Netho is focused on Puerto Rico and other places devastated by recent hurricanes. You can't really get food, water, shelter where it needs to go if you can't communicate, certainly not at scale, Netho Global Programs head Frank Schott told Axios. The group has dozens of people on the ground, including volunteers from some of the biggest companies in tech. The bottom line: the extensive devastation of the electric grid is making things especially challenging, though the U.S. government and big companies are pitching in on efforts to restore cell service and internet connectivity. Axios spoke to Schott about Netho and the unique challenges facing Puerto Rico. Here are the highlights. Just how bad are things? They are probably much worse than what we are seeing in the press, Schott said, noting that much of the island has been without power for nearly 3 weeks. The absence of electricity makes it hard to maintain perishable foods, so there is a food problem. There is a lack of clean water. The longer that goes on, the more trouble that will be. Garbage is piling up and the rainy season isn't over yet, which could lead to problems like waterborne diseases. It's a problem that has the potential to get a lot worse. What makes the situation in Puerto Rico different from past disasters? What's unique about Puerto Rico is that the electric grid was basically wiped out, Schott said. Most emergencies involve repairing any power outages and standing back up electricity and power in a few places. In this case, power is a challenge everywhere. The other is that, since Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, Netho finds itself working alongside the Federal Emergency Management Agency. What do you make of Google offering to bring its internet-serving loon balloons? It's massively interesting and we encourage that kind of activity, Schott said. Even if it doesn't make a big difference for this emergency, it does position us well for follow-on emergencies. You have workers from Facebook, Google, Cisco not only working together but living side by side in rented houses. How's that going? They get along great, Schatz said. The magnitude of the challenge to rebuild Puerto Rico is not anything any single company would be able to do on their own. It's almost collaboration out of necessity. He is Kurz served as Europe's youngest ever foreign minister, after he was appointed in 2013 aged just 27. Nicknamed Wonder Wuzzy, very roughly translated as Wonder Hotshot, he has been compared to the young leaders of France and Canada, Emmanuel Macron and Justin Trudeau. The main issue: immigration. Kurz moved his party to the right in the wake of Europe's 2015 refugee crisis. He pledged to shut down migrant routes to Europe, cap benefit payments to refugees, and bar immigrants from receiving benefits until they have lived in Austria for 5 years. Go deeper. What to know about Austria's election? The fees, the largest chunk of that, $830,000, went to Jones Day, the law firm charged with representing the campaign in connection with the Russia investigations, campaign finance law, and litigation stemming from the election. $238,000 went in July and August to the lawyer representing Donald Trump Jr., Alan Futerfas. The latest: Reince Priebus interviewed with special counsel Bob Mueller's investigation Friday. Go deeper. All the Trump associates who have testified before Congress.